Hello and welcome back to my Pokemon Horizons review series. Today we are reviewing episode 61 and I hope you enjoy. So the gang have arrived in Montanavera for Roy's implementation battle against Gym Leader Ryme. And for starters, this place is just a really cool vibe. It's one of the few places in Paldea that I think has some identity, and I love the whole theme with the ghost Pokemon roaming around. There's a lot of emphasis on Roy and Fuecoco and their singing in this episode, which definitely is important later on, but they are revved up for this battle in full spirits, singing away after last week's adventure in the snow. They feel unbeatable. We also bump into Nemona, which is really cool. Always a positive addition to any episode. And we learn that the gym leader is a performer and this town has several concerts that take place, adding even more atmosphere to this episode. Roy being Roy turns up to the stage testing and screams out that he's ready for this implementation test, and he ends up battling one of Ryme's assistants, with Fuecoco taking down his Sableye with just one flame charge. The battle was good for the story of the episode because it sets up this mindset that Roy has, that when he sings he can overcome anything. It just shows how confident he was, but I don't really think the first battle was needed. I feel it took away from the second half of the episode and made the main event feel a bit rushed. After this, Ryme, the gym leader herself, appears, and Roy of course recognises her from the Annihilate Tease episode, but Ryme isn't just going to start battling, it has to begin with a rap battle. I love this. I wasn't the biggest fan of Ryme in the games, but this episode absolutely sold me. She was really cool, she gets the crowd engaged, and it's just a really unique vibe and atmosphere for a gym battle to take place in. And even our boy Roy is spitting some bars back to her in this rap battle. But the 2-on-2 battle begins, Ryme versus Roy, and man, they did my boy Killer Wattrel so dirty here, getting taken out in just one hit, just one crunch. And there was a lot of that kind of thing in this episode. It seemed Pokemon were being knocked out very easily, so the battle itself did leave a bit to be desired. Fuecoco comes out and the singing begins, and they don't seem to be doing that bad. It uses Flame Charge, speeds itself up, and then manages to turn and quickly take out Houndstone before its Phantom Force can make contact. I feel this was another really quick knockout, especially on Houndstone, who is Ryme's trademark Pokemon. So I did expect to see a little more from that Pokemon. Ryme brings out Toxtricity and she starts questioning Roy. Why does he sing? What does it mean? And the longer this matchup goes on, Roy becomes a bit hopeless. Every attack he uses doesn't seem to be doing much to Toxtricity. He's trying to spur Fuecoco on with its singing, but Ryme isn't phased. She doesn't really see Roy as a threat here. And one thing I did really like was the difference in the Terastal in this battle. Roy uses it, and as soon as he did, I thought this is a bit different to the other times. This is more from desperation rather than having a calm head and using it for strategy. And then Ryme literally said the same thing, and it doesn't work. Toxtricity uses Venoshock to cover Fuecoco's eyes, and then finishes it off with Overdrive. It didn't even get the chance to use any Terastal moves. I did really like this. It shows how important timing is with Terastal, and if you try to force it in a sticky situation, it won't work. Ryme had full control of the battle, and it was the wrong time for Roy to do it. The episode ends with Ryme telling Roy that he has failed his test pretty bluntly. A pretty soul-crushing defeat for Roy, as there wasn't many positives to take. Ryme tells him to go and wash his soul and come back, and Roy starts questioning his own abilities as Fuecoco isn't living up to its potential. Such a contrast from the beginning of this episode, where the two bonds were unbreakable and they had all this confidence. It's done a complete 180 here, and I can't say I expected it, but I do really enjoyed where they're taking it narratively. So I actually liked this episode. I think story wise they are taking it to this real interesting place. It's the first Terastal test that someone has failed so far, and you can see why. When you use Terastal and don't even manage to land an attack, you use it at the wrong time in battle, you will fail. I think there is definitely weird storytelling beats in this episode, but I think I understand what they were going for. Roy using the gimmick of singing, thinking it's some sort of superpower without actually understanding why he sings. And Ryme is trying to teach him the meaning behind that. And I'm sure it will end with him and Fuecoco growing closer, probably an evolution. So it's all good development for Roy. I think this episode does have pacing issues. I don't think the battle against the random dude first was needed at all. I think the Ryme battle should have been longer. Killer Watchel and Houndstone got completely done dirty. There should have been a bit more action with them two, but I think battle action aside, narratively they have done some really interesting stuff, and it just excites me to see how Roy will bounce back here. So I'm going to give this episode a 7 out of 10. Let me know your thoughts. What is your rating out of 10? Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.